Hey, what's up, PokéFans? First of all, I want to apologize for the lack of content during the last days and weeks because I was moving in another flat with my girlfriend, so I had no internet. But yeah, today we have another interview with the second place at the Danish Nationals in the seniors division. He's Jesper Eriksen, and he actually has the most CP in the world in his division. So yeah, he obviously played Night March. I don't want to spend too much time on the deck itself because everybody of you knows how Night March works. You have Joltik, Pumpkaboo, and Lampant, do 20 times the damage of Night March in the discard, which is Battle Compressor used for 4 Shamans for consistency. Also, he runs 3 Acrobike as consistency cards, 1 Escape Rope to switch out Pokemon. It's very important against stuff like Jolteon. 1 town map, 1 Buddy Buddy Rescue, 1 Target Whistle. And guys, town map is so good in Night March. Don't ever drop that card. 4 Puzzle of Time, 1 AZ, 1 Lysander, 1 Hex, 1 N, 2 Sycamore, and 1 Senior and Junior. They're pretty much standard stable support. 3D Valley as well for the consistency, 2 Fighting Fury Belt, and 1 Float Stone, and obviously for DC. And as I mentioned, I don't want to talk too much about the deck itself because you already have seen it many times. I rather want to talk with Jesper about the fact that there are seniors who definitely have the potential to be in top places in Masters as well, like Jesper or David Rudolph, just to name a few. And yeah, so hang on a second as we jump into the interview. What's up, PokéFans? My name is Benedict, and today we have another interview with Jesper. Hello, Jesper. Is it pronounced
Hi.
Is it pronounced Jesper or is it Jesper?
It's Jesper.
Yeah, okay.
In Danish. So yeah, you're right.
Okay. Congratulations for placing second at the Danish Nationals in the senior division.
Thank you very much.
And first of all, what I want to know about is how went your Swiss rounds?
Well, we were 22 players, and we headed into Swiss with 5 Swiss rounds.
Okay.
I started day off with 1 bye, and then I won the last 4. I won the 2 rounds after that, and I was 3-0, so I could basically tie in. But my opponent round 4 was like, I don't want to tie, and I was like, sure, I'll beat you then. And then 5th round I was like, well, let's just play for fun, and I went 5-0.
Okay. So what was the 4th round player playing?
He was playing a quite unusual deck. He was playing Raichu with Octillery, Jolteon, and Glaceon. Kind of weird mix, but it beats Water Box.
Okay, so Water Box was a big thing at Danish Nationals?
It had 2 top 8 spots, and I think there was like 3 or 4 players playing it overall. And yeah, it was quite big with Night March and Westby Plume and other kinds of big meta decks.
Okay, so you went like undefeated?
Yeah, I went undefeated for Swiss, yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about the fact that you played in seniors, right?
Yes.
And do you think that seniors meta differs from masters meta?
It did a lot. There were absolutely no Trevenant or Greninja in seniors, and I was really happy. When I went into the tournament, I was like, I had my top 22 secured already. I just thought, play something consistent. Maybe I could earn the travel award, which just win some prizes and sell it afterwards. So I was really happy that when I scouted during the first round as much as I could, I saw no Trevenant and no Greninja. So there weren't any like hard matchups through the day.
Okay, so the matchups that you faced were the one was the bye and the other the Raichu and the other 3 were.
Yeah, I started with bye, of course. Second round was a Water Box.
Okay.
He totally dead ruled both games. And I was quite happy with that. Third round was the most challenging round I ever had. I started Night March Mirror. I was having a very bad start. I didn't dead rule, but I came back in game, and the target was a Lysander, and I was just like, yeah, sure. Second game it came down to an N, and Fortunately, he went in my favor. And then game 3, he totally dead drew. He only got 1 night march off, and I thought, well, keep going. I know time's running out because night march mirrors has to take a lot of time.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, go brainless on this one. And then I won the game 2-1.
Okay.
My 4th round was against the Jolteon, Glaceon auxiliary Raju build. I think that was a really easy matchup because, as you can see, my list I played Escape Rope, Lysander. Yeah. The first thing I did on my battle compressors was to check if one of those are prized. I have to race for prizes on another EX or another Pokemon before I can KO Jolteon using Flash Ray. So it was basically just checking if those were prized. If they weren't, I would win.
So and they were not priced.
They were not prized now.
Okay.
The last round was actually against a Toad Bats deck with Manectric. And that is actually a really tough matchup.
Yeah.
Game 1, I went off turn 1 180 and he didn't get much setup. Like, I hexed afterwards after my turn 1 and he couldn't Crobat me. So it would be like 1 for 1 in prizes. And I don't know how his playstyle was, but he goes up with a Manectric sometimes. I was like, 3 items for me, I'm fine. Because then I can play my puzzle of times when I'm running out of resources.
Yeah.
And that helped me a lot for doing that match. The second game of that, it came down really close. I had a few turns where I didn't hex, so it cleared my board. And there was once I sat with 4 Shamans and 1 prize left. The turn before, I took, in my prizes, I took a AC and a Joltik. So he basically knew I could sit a Night March next turn, because I puzzle timed 2 turns earlier for double DC.
Okay.
So what he did, I had 4 Shamans in play. He was going to KO one of the Shamans with an active Manectric EX. He chose to play Versus Seeker. And I was nearly pissing my pants though, because it was like, if you pick the end, I'll probably lose because I cannot draw a Shaman off that. But the guy has a brain for it or something. He takes an AC and scoops out a Crobat he cannot use. And I was like, God, yes. And that's how we go 5 out nationals.
Yeah, well, I had the same experience. I had to win the one match to get into my top 8. And my opponent was playing Trevenant. And I started. Then it was his turn. He had a Shaman active and a Phantom on the bench with the Dimension Valley. Attaches the energy and says pass. so I was like, you sure? Yes, I'm sure. I want to test something out. And I was like, dude, it's either win or it's win and then. You don't test something out.
you test that before the tournament.
Yeah, of course. I was
like, I'll offer you 2 prizes.
Yeah, and he didn't took me on the item lock. If he item locked me that turn, I probably would have lost the whole game. Okay. So you secured your spot in. Was it top 4 or top 8?
Top 8.
Okay, so you secured your spot in top 8.
Yes.
What were your top rounds?
Well, in top 8, I started off against a Mega Rayquaza, a guy who just squeaked into top cut with all top cut was actually 3-1-1. Last 2 years we had top 8. It was only 3-2 in the last 2 spots.
Okay.
So I got to know before the top 8 when he got in, if another guy hadn't scooped to him in the last round when they went to time, I would have met a Trotina. And that would have been like the death for me because I don't play any enhanced hammers or Cerosic. So I need to like, in that match we need to like Lysander the Tina before it gets loaded up, and that's pretty hard. So I was very fortunate that that guy didn't get in. He got 9th.
That's unfortunate.
that's good for me.
Yeah, of course.
And then I went against a Mega Rayquaza player. And he was, I think he was new to the game or something. Like, he played freaking Wally in his Mega Rayquaza deck. And I was thinking, how could that work? And he plays like Altaria. And I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, why don't you just play... He played Venona as well. So he'd like, Venona, Swablu, Ataria, Rayquaza, and I was so close to asking, why the fuck do you play Wally? Like, you can play Venona for the Altaria because of the Delta Evolution. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness. And I won the game 1 in 3 turns, like usually Night March does against the Mega Rayquaza deck.
Yeah, sure.
Game 2 came down quite interesting.
Okay.
He made a misplay. I has my first turn I burned a lot of resources, including DCs. And there was one turn. I had 2 prizes left. I had my last DC in play. I have used all my puzzles. Because I had to discard him through Sycamores and use him as a single.
Okay.
It ended up being he used a Versus Seeker. Not for his flare gun, but for a Lysander on my Shaman. And I thought to myself, okay, this is my lucky day. I was so close to telling him, why didn't you just pick the flare gun? I would have run out of DCs. If you check my discard pile, I had 3 puzzles of time out. And I was like, there we go.
Okay.
Go for top 4.
So lucky you. Top 4?
Yes. I went against that Jolteon, Glaceon, Raichu artillery build again. Because it met my good friend Oscar in top 8, which he played Water Box, and I was sitting right beside him when he played top 8. I was like, ah, damn it. Because he was needing points for his top 22 spot, and you needed 32 players to get top 8 points. He might actually still get it. He's on 640 points, so he might be one of the lower seeds in the top 22.
Yeah.
As long as he gets his trips, though. Yeah, he got beaten by the Water Box. He started off in his game 1 top 8 with a game loss because of some bendy cards.
That's shit.
Yeah, like mark cards, whatever.
Yeah.
Especially when you play those old basic energies, they get pretty messed
up.
up.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, but well, I thought to myself, if Oscar would have went to top 4, I would have made a decently skilled opponent, which would just fuck me up. And at that point, I thought to myself, I have been lucky enough. If I lose this game, I don't care, because I've had like, how much? 1440 points, and that was actually my old record. Yeah, but the game went on. In top 4, it was just like, do I have my Lysander? Do I have my Escape Rope? If I had them both, I win. I started off. We had a usual game in game 1. I took 3 prizes before I can use Flash Ray, and I pulled off Escape Rope Lysander maneuver, and I won the game. And game 2 was just totally dead draw for him. He ended me game 1. He ended me turn 1, and then he dead drew from that in, and I got like double Battle Compressor. So
yeah,
it went down to a bad start for him, and in like 5 minutes I took the last game.
Yeah, that's one point. That's one of the reasons I choose to play Night March, because it's so consistent and standard at the moment.
Yeah.
And other decks tend to dead draw, and even if you dead draw like one game, you're 1 game off. So, yeah. Okay, so you went to finals. Were you nervous? Were you playing to win, or were you just well, I'm fine with second anyway?
Well, I would have been fine to go 0-5 in that tournament, because 1140 championship points, that would still secure my spot.
Yeah, sure.
Which I had before the tournament. But I want to win. Like,
yeah, sure.
They had a travel award at our nationals for 2,000 kroner, which would be like, I think like 125 euro.
Okay.
It's called a little award, so you can purchase your flight tickets. And I was playing against Westbloom. Pretty hard match if I didn't start. I spoke with Ross Gilbert, commentator, before, and we were like, you have 2 plans. You don't play Sarosic, so you cannot pull the combo off like removing the tool from Wildplume and then Lysander it. If she doesn't get Floatstone attached to a Wildplume, and she discards the AC turn 1, you can Lysander Wildplume. Otherwise, you just have to go against 4 Westbrook Queen with your 4 DCs. And that's basically that war. Game 1, I started off drawing my hand, I started Joltik or Pumpkaboo. Doesn't matter. I drew, attached a Fighting Fury belt, used Pulse of Time, single. Looked at my top 3 cards, put them down again in the same order because they were all shit. And then I used Lysander on her Oddish, and I passed. She just goes like for Giant Planche, Shaman, gets all the Wesper Queen stuff set up, and I was like, KO. Damn. In the game 2, I had an okay start. I didn't get fully set up. I didn't get my items discarded. She got a turn 1 as well. I don't know how she does it, but she always gets a turn 1 with Wesper-Plume, and it's kind of annoying. Because Wesper-Plume is even more cancerous than Night March could be, because it's like Night March with item lock.
Yeah.
On top of it, like, you cannot beat that. And it has type advantage as well against like Seismitoad, which can sometimes beat Night March. But game 1, I started off, I got good start. I had set up stuff. I had 1 DC play my benched Pokemon and had Pumpkaboo inactive. It was a quite nice setup. And then turn 1 Wild with a Judge. Wrecked me.
Yeah,
I drew 4 item cards, and Lucas Shoestar, he was standing and watching the game. I looked at his face, he was like, yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, okay.
And I could sit like this for days. I was like, what can I do?
Yeah, especially if you don't have Xarotic Gotham thing, you just can hope for they don't attach the Float Stone and Lysander up.
Yeah, and the version of Light March I played was more item reliant on usual Light March were, because I played the 3 acrobikes. Even though I won that coin flip against Wesper-Plume, it was not enough. And this is why I have been testing every way to beat Wesper-Plume with Night March since. I even tried Aegislash. That's how far I will go. Aegislash is kind of nice if you play AC in Night March, but it's dead in other matchups.
Yeah, pretty much.
Be, quite nice for that. But that was my finals run, and it was my 5th finals of the nationals. I won the 4 last ones, so I'm alright giving away that win. But deep in myself, I know we're not that many seniors that can win the worlds from Europe. I only see, in my eyes, I only see 2 to 3 qualified players that can win worlds or have a good run. I was very scared after last year, after we only had 2 to 3, 4 players in top 32, which was just dominated by USA again, and I was the only one to make top 8.
Yeah.
I got quite scared, and I was like very set up to make other players better, so I could get a better challenge at home, but at the same time get better like teammates at Worlds, because you think of Europe as a team now.
Yeah.
Or at least I do.
Yeah.
So that's my goal, and especially since it's my last year in seniors, I just want to win Worlds or get to 4.
Yeah, I see. Are you excited or nervous to go into Masters Division next season?
Well, I'm quite excited. I'm not nervous. I'm gonna get some few test tournaments in Netherlands before I go to Worlds, when the new season starts after I think 3rd of July.
Yeah.
Rankings close and they open a new one. I'll go with some LC hunting again to max out my points, so I don't have to worry about that. Usually a first year master will not go for top 22, but if they introduce that system next year, I will definitely go for it. I think that myself as a player, I can make that. I know I'm not the best in the world, but I've seen like players that are worse than me making top 22 masters, so I'm definitely excited for masters.
Okay.
I think it's a good challenge for me at this time.
Okay. So you're talking about the fact that you're testing against Vespercon Wildbloom. Would you do any changes to your list? Like now? For example, if you are going to play Night March Worlds, what would be the changes against like Westbrook and Wildbloom or other difficult matchups?
Well, the difficult matchups in what you're thinking about is like Waterbox, which is a 50-50. Trevenant, and Westbrook and Wildbloom. Trevenant and Westbrook and Wild, especially Trevenant, is like very dependent on your turn 1. You have to win the coin flip, and if you don't, you lose. Unless you can turn 1 Lysander and then get all your items working. Against Westbrook and Wildbloom, it's actually a tougher matchup because they can like item lock, but you cannot Lysander around it. So you only have 50% of the cards you can use because I play 1 Hex and 1 Lysander. So I can only use the Hex now to like prevent item lock, and then I have to play my Puzzle of Time same time as I disconnect the item lock. So what I'm thinking, of course, when you play 1 Aegislash, you auto win every Westbrook and Wildbloom unless they play 1 Hex Maniac. But usually Westbrook and Wildbloom decks does not run Hex Maniac because they would simply just ruin the item lock, which is the base of their deck. Without item lock, Westbrook sucks. So Aegislash will auto win you that matchup if you get it out turn 1. But I think I would rather keep consistency. And I'm thinking about acrobikes. I'm thinking about catchers. I'm thinking about stuff that can make my deck more consistent and more streamlined. So it gets easier to play in a long tournament like Worlds, but it also gets strong.
Yeah. So Worlds is not a sprint; it's a marathon. So
yeah, it's a marathon. Especially last year, I have to go up through, what was it, 13 rounds of Swiss through day 1 and day 2.
That's crazy.
Where I started off, we could just take a lap back.
Yeah.
I played Tobats the last Worlds where I hated the deck after day 1. I was like, let me play Shiftry, and Shiftry was quite a underdog kind of thingy deck. It was not tire deck. I was close to playing that day 1 because it had an auto win against every Mega Evolution deck. Every Mega Evolution deck you can think of, you won. And you win against, or you could win against, you win against the Powder and stuffs. You win against all those counter meta decks. Because you can use Skyfield, the range dance, for thousands of damage. But I kept on going to bats and I drew good that day, flipped well, and I had some good matchups.
Yeah.
And then I didn't hate the deck that much. But I think I'm like one of the only players that has lost 1 round at Worlds where you had to go X1-1. I lost my first round and then went 6-1 and then tied at table 1. That was a huge moment for me last year. And my goal for this year at Worlds is gonna be go 8-0 or 6-2 for that purpose. Well, if I end up 6-0, I'll probably play the 7th round, and if I lose that one, I'll just tie. So it'll be quite interesting if I can do the same run this year as last year, but only the time knows.
Yeah. I wish you the best of luck in doing so. Okay. So you were talking about the points. You are on 1,400 something points right now?
1,540.
Of course.
I had on the rankings it says 1,440, but I got 100 points on World Top 8, so it's 1,540. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I wish you the best of luck at Worlds. And for the last question, last very important question, what is your favorite Pokemon? It doesn't have to be competitive in the VGC or TCG. Just your personally favorite Pokemon.
Well, for that purpose, I'll go choose Ditto because it could be everything.
Okay.
I don't have a favorite Pokemon. I have favorite Pokemon during the years. I had when I started, I had Torterra as my favorite, and I definitely hated it. And It goes around through, so you always say Ditto because then you can change it.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
And as I said, I wish you the best of luck at Worlds. And yeah,
Thank you.
well, hopefully see you at a tournament in the future.
I'll go to 50% of German regionals next year.
Okay, so see you there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I have to thank you.
Aber weil wir jetzt nicht ganz zufrieden mit dem Opening sind, machen wir noch was. Und zwar machen wir auch gleich noch die Turtok-Box auf. Ihr habt es auch schon im Bild gesehen, das ich gepostet habe. Die Turtok-Box ist...